I'm really happy to be asked to do this video post on a fatal mistake that a salesperson makes or a sales team makes. You know, we've been training salespeople for over 20 years, and one of the things we do is we have a podcast called the Advanced Selling Podcast, and we get a lot of emails from managers and from sales leaders, salespeople interested in how to solve certain problems. And I usually look at, when you have a problem, you've probably made a mistake up front. You've probably done something. So we look at things like sales positioning, and I thought about talking about closing skills because we get that a lot. We talk a lot about how do you keep momentum during the sales cycle. A mistake a lot of times salespeople make is they don't know how to keep that momentum and that velocity, and therefore deals just sort of wander away. So all those things are mistakes that salespeople make. But the one mistake, if I were to pick out one that I think we all make, not just as sales professionals, but leaders too, is we listen with our motor running. And what that means is, it may sound like an odd way to say that, but we listen not really hearing what the other person is saying, but only paying attention to what we're going to say next. How are we going to react to them? And I've watched it when people come in to sell me things, be it telecommunications equipment or marketing consulting, is a lot of times there's really not a whole lot of listening going on. There's some not talking going on, which is where they're just allowing me to vent. But a lot of times I look and I think that what they're doing is really just looking for an opening. They're looking for it to hang on something I say that they can use as a closing move. And so I think in sales we have to be very careful. And I think the tip is that we want to give people some breathing space. So when a prospect says to you, you know what, I've had a problem with my current vendor and for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm interested in talking to some other people that can help me. Don't look at that as a closing clue. Don't look at that as a buying signal. It's not. It's just someone saying that I've had a problem with a vendor, and the worst thing you can do is listen with your motor running and jump right in and start talking about how great you are. Just relax. Let it breathe a little bit. Tell the customer, you know what, I'm sorry to hear that. Tell me a little bit about it. What's going on? How'd you arrive at the conclusion that they weren't a good vendor for you? Tell me a little bit about a recent example of maybe where they've dropped the ball or where they've fallen down. Give them a little chance to tell you more instead of trying to rush in and do your feature and benefit dance, which does not work. So I'd say the fatal mistake is we listen and we don't hear, we don't notice, we don't observe the context into which they're saying things. They might say the words right, but maybe there's an undertone of something that we just don't hear because we're oblivious. Why are we oblivious? Because we're waiting to jump in and start to pitch our services. That's the fatal mistake. I hope you've enjoyed it. By all means, join us on the Advanced Selling Podcast. You can download it from iTunes or advancedsellingpodcast.com. We'd love to have you as a listener. So long. Thanks.